Take a breath with me before we begin. Just one, slow, easy, yours. Welcome to the Slow Inhale, a breathwork and sacred living podcast from Breath and Branches. I'm Gwen Gillespie Thibeaux, and this is your Sunday anchor, a space to slow down, come home to your body, and tend to your inner life, one breath at a time. I'm so glad you're here. Let's begin.
When everything feels like too much, the problem is not that you are weak. It's that you are full. There is a specific state I want to talk about. Not stress exactly, not sadness. It is the moment when there is so much coming at you that you cannot pick up one single piece of it. The inbox and the appointment and the thing you forgot and the person who needs something and the low background noise of everything undone, all of it arriving at once until you just sort of freeze in the middle of the kitchen, holding a dish towel, unable to start anything. That is overwhelm. And it has a particular cruelty to it because on top of the flood, you add a second layer, which is judgment. Why can I not just handle this? Other people manage, but what is wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. Let me explain what is actually happening, because it will help more than any tip that I can give you. Overwhelm is not an emotion. It's a capacity state. Think of it like a glass. The glass is not broken and it is not too small. It is just full and someone keeps pouring. When a glass overflows, you do not stand there asking, what is wrong with the glass? It is doing exactly what a full glass does. You just stop pouring and you pour some out. But when it happens to us, we do the opposite. We feel the overflow and we try to add more. We tell ourselves to push through it, to try harder, to just get it all done. We pour faster into a glass that is already spilling. And then we are confused that we feel worse. So the first move is not a productivity trick. It is to understand that you are not failing. You are full. Those are completely different problems with completely different solutions. Here's what nobody tells you about overwhelm. It is not a character flaw. It is a capacity problem. You're not weak or lazy or bad at life. You are a glass that is full and someone keeps pouring. And you cannot think your way out of a flood. You cannot organize your way out. The only way out is to stop pouring and pour a little out. That is not giving up. That is what a full glass requires. Now, the reason overwhelm feels so awful physically is that it is a nervous system state, not just a mental one. When you are flooded, your body reads it as danger. The thinking part of your brain, the part that plans and prioritizes and makes calm decisions, actually goes offline. That is not a metaphor. Under enough stress, blood and resources move away from the reasoning brain and toward the survival brain, which is exactly why in the middle of overwhelm, you cannot think clearly. You're not being dramatic. Your planning brain has literally stepped back. That is the most important thing to understand because it tells you what to do. You cannot solve overwhelm from a thinking brain because the thinking brain is not fully available. You have to come down through the body first. You have to tell your nervous system you are safe before your mind will come back online. And the fastest way to tell your body that it is safe is the breath, specifically a long exhale. A long exhale is a direct message to your nervous system that the emergency is over. You cannot talk yourself calm, but you can breathe yourself there because the exhale reaches the part of you that words cannot. So before we do anything about the actual list, we get your body back. And then, only then, we deal with the flood itself. And we deal with it in the only way that works when you are full, which is one thing at a time, not the whole list. The list is what broke you. When you are overwhelmed, the list is not a tool. It is a weapon. So you put it down. You do not ask, what do I need to do? That question is just too big and it will flood you again. You ask a much smaller question. What is the one next thing? Just the very next physical action, not the project, the next step of the next thing. When everything is too much, you do not need to see the whole path. You just need the next single step. Overwhelm comes from trying to hold all of it at once. So stop holding all of it. Put the list away. Ask one question. What is the one next thing? Then do only that. The fog does not lift because you figured it all out. It lifts because you did one small thing and proved to yourself you still could. And that is the secret nobody believes until they try it. Doing one small thing is what clears the fog. Not solving everything, not making the master plan, just completing one visible, finishable action. Wash the one dish, send the one text, put away the one pile, because each completed thing sends a signal back to your nervous system. We are handling it, and the flood recedes by an inch. And then the next thing is a little easier to see. Notice what I'm not saying. I'm not saying make a list and work it efficiently. That is the advice everyone gives, and it is exactly wrong for this particular state, because building the list means holding all of it in your mind at once, and holding all of it at once is the thing that flooded you. So we do the opposite of planning. We go almost blind. You do not need to know steps 2 through 10. You need step 1, and step 1 only needs to be small enough that you cannot argue with it. Not clean the kitchen. Wash the one cup in your hand. That is it. The rest will still be there, and it will be quieter because you have proven the flood is survivable. You do not organize your way out of overwhelm. You act your way out, one finishable thing at a time. And you let each one prove that you are still capable, that the flood is survivable, that you are not actually drowning. You're just standing in a full room, and rooms can be emptied one object at a time. Let me give you the breath that brings you back so that you have it the next time the flood hits. This one is built for exactly that moment when you cannot think. You do not need to sit in a certain way. You do not need quiet. You can do this in the middle of the kitchen with the dish towel still in your hand. Breathe in through your nose for a count of 4. Now breathe out slowly through your mouth for a count of 8. Twice as long going out. That long exhale is the signal. It tells your body the emergency is over. Again, in for 4. And imagine the glass stops being poured into. Out for 8. Imagine an inch pouring out, just an inch. That is all we need. One more in for 4. Out for 8. Notice you can think a little more clearly already. That is your brain coming back online. Now and only now you ask, what is the one next thing? You are not weak. You are full. And full has a solution that failing does not. You stop pouring. You breathe until your mind comes back, and you do one small thing. Not the whole list, just the one next thing, and then the next. That is how the flood recedes. You are rooted. You are tended. You are enough. I'll talk to you next Sunday.
Before you go, place a hand on your heart if you're somewhere you can do that. You just did something that matters. You showed up for yourself. You chose presence over autopilot. That is sacred living, not in the grand gestures, but in the small, repeated act of coming back. If this episode found you at the right moment, share it with someone who needs it. And if you haven't yet, subscribe so next Sunday finds you too. Root deep, breathe wide, live sacred.